Hey guys, what's going on? It is Dangeles, and welcome back to episode number 45 of Constructing Los Angeles Season 2. What's up, everybody? We are back on this city today. Well, actually, we're really not even that close to this city. We're way up in the outskirts, way up in the northwest area of the city, and we're going to be continuing to work on this military base today that I got started on last episode. So pretty much since then, I haven't done too much to it. I think like midway through last episode, I took this hangar, which is very, very early stages of its development. It's pretty much just one block at this point, so it's not a lot of detail to it. And I pasted it on this side just to see if it was going to fit, and it was looking pretty solid, so I just got rid of it. That was just kind of a test. I actually went ahead and filled in this whole fence here, actually like built it up and terraformed a little bit behind it. So we're going to be continuing stuff like that, off camera probably. I won't be doing too much terraforming on camera, but I'm likely going to have this landscape kind of fill around the corner here and run all the way up to the edge of the runway here. And speaking of the runway, I expanded that back a little bit like I said I was going to do. At the end of last episode, I believe the runway was about 250 blocks long. I almost doubled it. It's about 430 now, so this might honestly be a little bit too long here, and I think it might be. As you can see, this comes pretty much all the way out of the chunk. This probably is way too long. I'm thinking maybe to like the edge of the river right here might be the way to go with this. So that's probably what I'm going to cut it down to. So the start of the runway will be right where my crosshair is now, and it'll run all the way down to the edge of the continent over here. So I think that'll definitely be long enough in terms of like the proportions of things. One thing I want to just kind of be careful about is, the proportions compared to the rest of Los Angeles. In this current state, a 430 block long runway, that's like literally as long as like the entire downtown area of LD, which is, obviously not very proportional. So I have to really be careful about stuff like that. So today I want to actually spend most of the episode working on this runway. I want to make some updates to it and some changes, and that is what I'm going to do today. So I'm actually going to grab some black wool. This is a block that's a relatively new texture in the City Advance. It's actually a block that I forgot about, but it's a nice looking block. It's actually built specifically for pavement. So I think I'm going to use some black wool for parts of this build and see kind of how it comes together, and see if we can come up with something cool with this. So I'm going to leave the big cargo ship here for now, but my plan is to make the runway a little bit wider to accommodate for the wings. So right now the wingspan of this vehicle is currently going past the edges of the runway, which is not really something I want. I want it to be able to fit on the runway nice and soundly. So that's something I have to consider. So I'm probably going to expand the width of the runway by approximately 10 to 15 blocks to account for that. And that's going to be pretty easy to do, because really all I'm going to do is this. I'm just going to take this out about 5 blocks here and basically just run this down and connect it to probably right around here somewhere. Kind of just get this filled in with our position 1 and position 2. And I'm just going to do a set 35. What is it even? 35.9? Is that correct? I always get that wrong. 35.15. I can never remember what black wool is. Okay, there we go. So we're going to do that on both sides. What I'm going to do actually in the front of this is take this out about 3 blocks. And we're going to see how this kind of connects, because this is a very dark block. It's a pitch black color, jet black actually, which kind of makes sense for all the jets that are going to be in this area. But we're going to see if we can utilize it and come up with something interesting here. One of the things that I did last episode that I would like to do more of is adding kind of like little patches of different colors of pavement to kind of represent wear and tear, and that's something that I'm definitely going to be considering to add more of as we go along. And don't worry about all this like grass and like the stuff that I've laid out. I'm going to make some changes to that. I just want to make sure that I have a solid design put in for this first, and then we can kind of worry about that stuff later. And I'm also even thinking about pushing the runway back a block potentially. I think that might be something I would consider. Let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, this is a little bit incorrect. I gotta run this down and connect it to the edge, since we're actually not even gonna be worrying about this little cobblestone strip here. But anyway, guys, I'm just gonna focus on this today, see if I can kind of come up with a more sound design for this. and let's just kind of grind it out, because I'm not going to answer a question of the day today. I'm just gonna work on this for the episode. So let's do it. All right, first thing I'm gonna do is start to just kind of get rid of some of this grassy area and really kind of rethink this. So we're gonna, okay, actually I should set that to 1, not 0. There we go. Rethink some of this grassy area. I can actually keep this grass since I am gonna be using it. So we'll just get rid of this cobblestone. We'll switch that to 1. We'll get this swapped out for some regular stone. I'm going to move this right now. This was originally going to be the spot for one of the air traffic control towers. We're going to move that over a little bit, but not too much. My goal is just to go detail by detail for this build. Instead of doing, like, normally when I build big projects like this, I like to get, like, the high level plans of it built first. But I think I'm going to take a different approach for this particular build, due to the fact that, you know, this is going to require a lot of detail for it to come together the way I want. So I think it's wise for me to just kind of work on it, you know, one thing at a time. So I'm going to perfect the runway first, and then we'll go from there. So as far as the grass kind of along the edges of this, one thing I want to do is probably mix in some sand. I think I'm probably going to have the sand kind of curve around this corner. This can all be sand, since we're going to have this as kind of like the edge of the runway almost. So let's see if we can get that figured out. So if this right here is going to be the edge of the runway, I think it's probably smart that we do some sort of, maybe some stone slab lining to this, kind of running around. And even, we actually might even be able to use like the stone slabs. I think it's 44.9. Okay, no, it's not. It's 40. Is it 43.9? No. It might be 43.8. Yeah, there it is. It's 43.8. Let's use this block. This is not a block you can place, so I think that makes it kind of interesting. So 43.8 is like the full cobblestone slabs with no lines in the middle, which I like that block, so we're going to use it. Okay, we'll run this down to here, connect that, and boom. So that's going to be kind of like the border of this. And I'm not done there, right? I want to do some other things with this. I know that's a very dark black. I don't know if it fits. It's a little bit too clean. I don't know yet. I haven't decided. I haven't made that decision yet, but we will soon. As far as these blocks here, we're going to run that down and connect to there. Okay. And maybe I'll continue running that down. I'm not sure yet. But let me grab some cobblestone walls. And I am going to start to take this down a little bit. As a matter of fact, I have a better idea. We're going to double stack this since it's going off the edge. I think that's probably pretty smart. Run this all the way down to over here. Place that here. And we're going to set this whole entire thing to 43.8. So that's going to be double stacked now. Hanging off the ocean, which is, again, what I want. And let's go ahead and start to put in some of these cobblestone walls. So I'm going to take this down right here. And next to those, what I want to do is get some stone stairs. Let's get some stone brick stairs. And I want to do kind of like a little angled design in here connecting to the edge of the continent. And this is just going to help with kind of supporting the build. If I can get this, I can't stand stair blocks on PC. Just cannot get used to placing those. Okay, so let's get those filled into there. Get that sand put back. Alright. So something like that. This side's going to be a lot more interesting since this is going to go down into the ocean. So we'll take this straight down into the water. And I'm wondering if that's going to look weird. Maybe I can do something like this. Once it gets to the water, I can switch it to this polished andesite. That way it's not kind of like this, you know, opening, you know, gap in the water that's just random air from the edges of the cobblestone blocks. I think that's probably what I'm going to do. So we'll do that. That's going to connect to the bottom of the ocean. And as far as the cobblestone stairs on this side, or the stone brick stairs, I should say, we'll run these down. I'm not exactly sure where they're going to connect. but we'll see. They're going to be in the water, which I don't have a problem with that at all. So we'll do that. We'll run them straight down in and have them connect to the edge of the continent underwater. And this is just going to provide some, some support. Although, we don't really need it because it's Minecraft, but trying to build things realistically. Okay, so that'll connect to there. And then the same thing goes on this side. So we'll run this down and connect it to the water again. And I'm going to be doing these in the middle of this as well. I might just do these first two for now since I want to move on to some other things. But this is just going to help with some support for the build. Right on the edge of the water. I think that's kind of what makes this particular base kind of cool, is that it's right on the edge of the continent. So you're taking off pretty much right over the ocean. It's pretty sweet. I like it. I like this design. I like the location for this build. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge connecting this thing back to the main part of the city. I mean, I'm going to have to run a highway through somewhere and have an exit. I don't know where that's going to be just yet, but that's something we'll face later on. Okay, so now that we have this, which is good, this is solid, what do we need to do next? The next thing we got to do is just continue to add detail to this. And I'm thinking I want to do like almost like skid marks and tire tracks kind of running through this build. And again, I don't know if this black wool is the best option for this because it is, again, it is extremely dark and maybe not realistic, but we're going to try it out and it might ultimately end up looking good if I do it right. So what I'm building right now is just little streaks of skid marks kind of within. So just in theory, the whole plan of this is that the gray wool is really more of just like a worn out, black wool essentially. So some of the skid marks there are just from, wear and tear, right? And that's kind of what I want to do with this. So I'm going to be adding stuff like this all over the runway. And I'm also going to be doing that out of, I believe this is, what was this block again? This is andesite, that's right. I couldn't remember if I put stone or andesite there, but we're going to use some of the andesite as well for this. Just have these little streaks. You guys saw me do something similar to this with the northeast area of Los Angeles with the roads kind of worn down. Not saying that this is not super well kept, it's just going to be hard to keep a runway perfectly clean with so many planes going off of it and stuff. So that's kind of like what I want to do. Also, ultimately, this is going to take a lot of time to add all of that, but I just don't know 100% if that is like the what I want. I just don't know yet. So I might have to do more of that later. Okay, next up, let's start to make a solid sound connection between these blocks. So I'm thinking I'm going to take this gray wool out, I don't know, maybe about 4 blocks. Another thing that I just thought of is I might actually use gray wool as this block right here and then make the actual runway andesite. I know that's going to drive people bonkers because I always get complaints that I use too much stone, which I don't understand because, I mean, I don't know since when, like, do we live in a world with no concrete, but I don't know. That's just something I have to do, Gotta have to place stone down to build stuff on. I don't know what else I'm gonna use. But I'm gonna use this black. We'll kind of run this down to maybe like right there. I think that's pretty solid. Just I want to create like not like a perfect connection, but something that is gonna look decent from an aerial view. That's solid. I think I'm gonna have a road that's gonna run down through here and like around the edge of the fence though. So that's something that I'm gonna do later on, which will help with this connection, I believe. So on the other side here, what are we gonna do with this? So my plan was I was gonna get another line of light gray wool, and I was gonna run this out maybe 3 or 2 blocks away from the other line, and kind of continue this down. And I wanted to actually run this down to the point where it was connected, maybe to like right here. Run that down to there, and then everything in between here is gonna start to turn into some gray wool. So this is all going to be gray wool here instead of stone. And this is just going to help me expand the runway a little bit. Ultimately, want to make sure that these planes, right, they're covering the runway, which is good now. We got 1 block of separation, which is fine. All right. And then, of course, there's going to be... I'm going to have another road that's going to run probably down and around behind the hangar here, I think. Maybe later on. But we're going to use this design. This is going to go down quite a ways. So I'm probably going to just like stack 10 this real quick in that direction. Not stack 0. That's not what I want. There we go. Stack 10. We'll run that down. So that'll help to expand the runway. As far as the other side is concerned, I think I'm just going to do maybe like another line of gray and then black. So this is going to run down. Of course, there's going to be a separation between this, but I'm thinking that this right here is going to run down. So we can stack this 15, have that run down. Needs to go about as far as that one, but we'll cover that later. So that was what I was thinking about for the runway. So it's not exactly the same on both sides, but it makes it a little bit wider, especially on the end here. And then as far as a road that's going to kind of run around this corner here, I was thinking about doing something like this. As this would be kind of like the edge of the road. And I can make it, I don't know, maybe 5-6 blocks wide, maybe. Enough for just like a little cart or like, you know, I guess military vehicle to drive through, not like a plane. This is more of just kind of like a road for cars. So maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks wide. And then we can connect it on the other side here with a trim of the black wool. And then I'm going to have this probably just go 3 blocks in and then snake back down to the main part of the road. And we can turn all of this into gray wool. And then, you know, all this stone will be turned into gray wool as well. And then we can start to run this road down along the edge of the fence. And it'll just be a nice little side road for, you know, whether it be, you know, anything. Any particular car can drive through it. Getting stuck underneath. Trapped under the ice, which is bad. Let's get this opened up. Let's get this replaced. There we go. Let's add like 2 more to this so I can stack it a little bit. I don't even know what I did before I learned to stack. It's like the best feature ever for World Edit. So we'll stack 5 that, and that'll just continue down, and probably even curve this a little bit more and run it like right up against the edge of the fence. But that's pretty solid. I still think that I might actually use like the gray wool as the black wool and then andesite as the gray wool. I think that might look better potentially. I just don't know yet. It's hard for me to I've always been very indecisive when it comes to making decisions with block choice. That's always been something it takes me time to make the final decision. All right, so this is pretty good. And as far as the length of the runway, I want to definitely expand that. Right now we have 1, 2, 3 different lines here. I want to at least add probably like, I don't know, 7 of these. And also these numbers here, we're going to actually get rid of those and move them way down the runway. So I was just kind of testing things on my first stream when I was working on this, just to kind of see like how they would look. You know, nothing's set in stone. We literally just got this build started. There's you know, very little progress has been made. Very little of these details are final at this point, so it's not something I'm worried about at this moment. So let's go ahead and stack this like 6. Let's stack it 4 to start. We don't want to get overzealous here. So let's see. We just added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these. So let's actually do one more. We'll stack 5. Okay, there we go. So we got 1 more of those. And then I think I'm going to start to add these numbers. And I think I am going to cut this off right here at the edge. I don't know, because it's one of those things where I want... See this river here? Should I be covering that river up or not? That's the thing. I think I want to keep this river intact. This is like a kind of a cool little river that runs through the desert. And ultimately I can push this through and open it up to the ocean, potentially. So I think that's where I'm going to end the base and have the fence kind of wrap around this river, like right up against the river. I think that could potentially be cool. And also it works in the same way as, you know, it would be good for keeping intruders out, right? If it's right up against a river, it's going to be hard to cross, hard to break in. So that's good, obviously. You want your military base to be very safe. So we'll get rid of all that, and that's going to be the length of the runway in its current state. So we're going to stop it right there. Let's run this down real quick and see how long this actually is, because we can definitely decide if it needs to be any longer. I think this is the perfect length. You know, in theory, if one of these big planes here started way at the end over there, you know, they could potentially pick up enough speed to take off. I think that's fair. I really don't want it to be any longer than that. I think that's perfectly good. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look, see how long this actually is. I don't know. I think it was this block right here would be our second position. Okay, so it's 338 blocks long right now, which I think is fine. I think that's going to work out just fine. So all the way over here at the end, there's going to be kind of like I don't know really how to explain it, but there's going to be another track over here that is where the planes can enter onto the runway. So they'll come from their hangars, they'll go down through here, then enter onto the main runway. They'll straighten themselves out right here, and then they'll start to pick up speed, go down the runway, and then start to, you know, take off into the air. And one of the cool things I can do with World Edit is I can make these planes look like they're taking off. I can curve the blocks of them so it looks like they're taking off. I think that's what I'm going to do with one of these planes. And of course we have the jets as well, which I think I can make some shorter runways on the side for the jet planes, since they don't need as much space to take off as, you know, one of these big cargo planes would. So that's something I got to keep in mind. So as far as like all the way down at the end of this over here, I'm gonna grab the yellow wool again and come in about let's find the middle, which I believe is gonna be right here. Where is the middle of this? Yeah, this block right here. Okay, so this is the middle. I'm gonna find that, and I'm gonna start to add more of those yellow arrows, kind of like those indicator arrows. Like, okay, you need to start taking off right here. So that'll be the middle. This is 3 blocks in. We're gonna move it up a couple. Go down over here. We're gonna go 3 blocks away from the edge and start to add these. Actually, I'm gonna have this one go 5 blocks away from the edge. Start to add these arrows down here at the end of the runway, and these will run until they get to the middle, and then curve back down on the other side. And we're gonna be solid. Right here is where we want it. Okay. And then the next one is gonna start where this one left off. So let's see, it's gonna be right here. So they're kind of lined up. And this one runs to the middle and then runs back down this way. I'm gonna make that decision right now, actually. So far we have 2 arrows. We get rid of that block. I would ultimately like it to be maybe, how many did I do on the other side? Because that could help me make this decision. How many did I do way down over here? Let's see. If there's 2 there now, and there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we'll do 6 over there as well. So we have 2 small ones. Let's do 6 in total, and it'll be 2 small arrows and then 4 larger arrows. So what I mean by larger arrows is they're going to come in a little bit further. So instead of being 5 blocks away from the edge, they'll be 3. So we'll do one of these, and I want to see how far these are actually going to go down the runway, because that could ultimately depend or determine how many of these I actually do add, since I plan on adding 6, but that might be too many. Okay, that's 1 block too far. Okay, so the next one, see, I might have to like scrap this right here. We might have to take away one of those, which is fine. I still think it's plenty of space. Okay, and then maybe we can actually leave them and have the arrows run over top of them, because there definitely is overlapping on runways. I don't think that's really going to be a problem. So right here, and how many blocks away are these going to be from each other? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the next one's going to be right here. So that will give us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then one more 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So here. Honestly, yeah, we can leave this. And we can just have these overlap. I don't see it. I don't see an issue in doing that. Okay. So this will run back down this side. We'll get these arrows built for now. Okay, so there's one. Oh wait, this has got to go one block further to right here. Okay, let's do the next one. This one's probably going to be the one that overlaps. It is. That's okay though. That is okay. I'm fine with this. I might even actually have the white going on top of the yellow, potentially. I think that might be the better way to do it. I don't know yet. We'll try both, but let's get all these arrows built, and we'll take a step back and see how this runway is looking. But yeah, I really want to make sure that I add a lot of detail to this base, and it's gonna take some time, but I just want to be able to get the runway figured out first, and then we can start to move on to adding hangars and other buildings and planes and things like that. But definitely made some solid progress today, and I think that is absolutely fine what we have down there. So 6 extra arrows there. We have 6 up here, and we have some different markings in the middle. I'm going to add some numbers in front of a few of these, and also change up some of the designs of them as well. So let's say, for example, that one right there, instead of being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like white marks, I think I might make it only 2, or maybe a couple of, make them skinnier potentially, and it'll help with the overall detail, I think, a little bit more. And there's just so much more things that I can do. We're just barely scratching the surface of this build. It's going to take some time before it's like fully detailed, but as far as just working on it I've only worked on this military base for about 2 hours so far. So through 2 hours, and we're going to keep on grinding it out. It'll eventually all come together, and I think it's going to be a cool build. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys did enjoy it. I'm going to come back at you guys with a question of the day next episode. Didn't get a chance to answer one today. I didn't have one picked out, but you guys can fire back at me with some questions in today's comment section. That would be fantastic. So yeah, that's going to wrap it up, guys. Thanks for watching. Making some modifications to the runway today, and I'm just going to keep on adding more details to this as I go. I'm going to make the decision on what block choices I'm going to use, because that's something that's pretty important. We'll make those decisions. I'm going to work on it on my stream, most likely. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. It's been Dangeles. Drop a like if you did enjoy it. Making some progress here on the Los Angeles military base, Fort Dancudo, and we'll make it all come together in the long run. So hopefully you guys did enjoy it, and I will see you guys on episode 46 in a couple of days. Everybody have a good one, and peace out.